nice, Mr. Tasani.
Yeah, and he loves his job.
And so it was really, really hard.
And it came, 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 and it came.
What's up, everybody? So I just got back from the Wisconsin Council for Social Studies, and I loved it. It was my first time ever attending the event, and it was definitely my first time ever speaking at any event. Tom Friesmeier asked me to speak with him on technology in the classroom, and it was amazing. Everybody that we met, everybody that we talked to about our presentation, every presentation that we went to go see was all phenomenal. So this being my first time at a conference and the first time presenting at a conference, I get to the hotel really early, kind of get myself mentally ready. We check into the hotel, we register at the event, and we get our badges. Our badges happen to say presenter under the bottom, so I'm feeling really good. So after all that, we check our schedule and we get to see Chuck Taft speak on social media and social studies. Chuck started with an awesome point that he wanted everybody to leave there with pearls that day, something that they could take and implement in their classroom the next day. Not only did I leave with new ideas on social media and ways to use it in the classroom, I left thinking differently about the social media that I'm using in the classroom, different concepts and ways that I can use the platforms that I'm already currently using in my classroom, and that was awesome. Chuck, not only did I leave with one pearl, I left with a whole bag of pearls. It was phenomenal. Great job. So after Chuck's presentation concluded, I started getting really nervous. I had about a 2-hour break to set up with Tom and go over different things that we wanted to tweak and maybe switch around in our presentation. That 2 hours seemed like forever. I feel that Tom and I did a really good job. We had a lot of fun. It's my hope that everybody that attended our session enjoyed themselves and took some of those pearls that Chuck talked about away from our presentation. Some people did hang around and give us feedback afterwards. It was all positive, thankfully. They were excited to tell us how they were going to use some of the things that we talked about in their classroom and give us some ideas on what they use in their classroom. So it was a great form of collaboration. After Tom and I's session concluded, we ran up, dropped our stuff off, and got to go back downstairs and see Mike Matera speak. Now, Mike's the author of Explore Like a Pirate, and his presentation was on gamifying your classroom. If you've never seen him speak live or had a chance to read his book, I highly suggest you look him up on YouTube because he's got some phenomenal ideas. He's completely changed the way that I'm going to use games and create games for my kids in my classroom. After spending the night doing trivia with everybody at WCSS, we came in second, but we lost to Abe Lincoln, a real-life reenactor that was dressed like Abe Lincoln. I don't think I can say that I'm upset with that. So the next morning we wake up, grab some coffee, grab some breakfast, and I sit down to watch Tom present on inquiry in the social studies classroom. Tom did a phenomenal job talking about using inquiry-based strategies in the classroom, especially with primary source materials. He did a really good job at explaining how to get students to ask those higher level questions and how to have more student-led conversations. I'm sure he'd love it if you reached out to him and asked him a little bit about how to implement inquiry-based strategies in your classroom. So after Tom's presentation, we sat down for lunch and watched the keynote speaker, Dr. Diana Hess, the author of The Political Classroom. Dr. Hess talked a lot about how to have those courageous conversations regarding politics with your students. A lot of what Dr. Hess had to say was very parallel with what we're going over in our school district with our equity team. And ours is more culturally and racially charged, whereas the conversations coming from Dr. Hess were more politically charged and how to have those conversations on politics with your students in the classroom. So after our keynote speaker, we attended a presentation by Trent Rasmussen on disciplinary literacy in the social studies classroom. As an ELA teacher for the last 3.5 years, this was something that I really wanted to see new concepts on, something that I really wanted to figure out ways where I didn't have to rely on any other teachers to kind of integrate literacy in my social studies classroom. Trent did a great job at explaining and outlining some of the things that he does in his classroom with literacy. As our students are moving on to World War II, something that I kind of realized that I should have started at the beginning of the year and plan on implementing next year is a book club. I want to make sure that every student has a mandatory requirement to attend one session. And one session consists of every lunch period until we're done with the book. My goal with this mandatory lunch literacy club is to align whatever the book's topic is with the unit that we're on in social studies. My hope is obviously to encourage more students to read and take more enjoyment in reading and literacy. I also want them to have a connection or a reference to what we're talking about in class. These thematic units in social studies, I want them to be able to link that to literacy and something that we've read outside of the class. And that's something that I came up with about a week prior to attending Trent's session, but in attending Trent's session, it kind of reaffirmed the fact that I was doing the right thing and allowed me to tweak my ideas with that a little bit more. Something that I took away from Trent's presentation was teaching these students to read like historians, not only with literature, but in the primary source documents that we provide for them. So Trent gave us a lot of information on diving into and kind of analyzing those primary source readings and DBQs, Socratic seminars, and the one thing that I'm most interested in learning more about are the mock trials that he runs. So if you can't already tell, WCSS had an amazing impact on me as a teacher. Thank you so much to all the presenters that we got to see speak. Thank you for all the ideas or the pearls, as Chuck would say, that I got to take away and implement into my classroom. I'm excited about all of those. Super excited about the fact that I got to present to a room full of educators. Tom and I feel like did a really great job with that, and at the very least, we had a lot of fun. Those of you, thank you, that stayed after and told us about how excited you were about implementing some of the things that we presented in your classroom, as well as giving us new ideas on technologies that you use within your classroom. It was a phenomenal experience, and I cannot wait to do it again.